houses are an affordable option for people who don't have a big budget.
I lived in 3 rooming houses, 1 in this area, 2 just on the outskirts. It becomes kind of unbearable sometimes. My first rooming house was down on Sherbrooke, and we did have a slum landlord. It was disgraceful. Like, I was actually kicked out about a few days before Christmas because the pipes froze and I was thrown out. It became inhabitable to live. Also, it was a major crack house. I think that has a lot to do with rooming houses, is that a lot of people don't make a lot of money, so they do turn to drugs and crime. We have a lot of poverty people. We have a lot of people that are on income assistance. In this area, rooming houses are very important. We can't afford 1-bedroom apartments. We can't afford a house. Without them, we would be still living at Siloam Mission and Salvation Army.
Rooming houses are fire traps. But come on, man, they're run-down houses, most of them. And the guys that own these places, they're trying to squeeze every last possible dollar in it. And most of them wind up letting the cities close them down. So people are forced to swallow these conditions, because if they make waves, they're on the street. And where the hell are they going to go? To the big bed-bug motel, the regional housing special, last stop apartments. Well, it was about 5 o'clock this morning. I was sleeping and I woke up because I could smell smoke. And I was wondering why the alarm wasn't sounding, but then as she was starting to stir, it went off for about 2 or 3 seconds and then it shut off. I saw them taking Terry out of his suite there on the gurney. And I knew he was done.
He was dead. He died.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to see him go. He was a pretty good chap. I used to be a caretaker in the city for 12 years. All that takes to improve conditions is an owner that cares.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Hi, Judy, Greg? Okay. Back. The 325. Right on, thanks, Greg. When I started buying these houses, this was 4 or 5 years ago. Some of them were self-financed, some of them I was able to get some financing, but a lot of times, to go refinance to do an upgrade is impossible because banks won't touch this type of housing, right? They'll basically say, no, sorry, too risky, we're backing off, right? So a lot of times, you want to fix them, you want to repair windows, you want to repair doors, upgrade the wiring. It's just unaffordable, right? So one of the guys, when he brings his bike up, smashes into that, right? It's the old lat and plaster, so that tells you the age. So this is the kitchen. It's not great. They use it cooking and then just for water. So this would need an upgrade as well. Most of them are late 50s, 60s, so they're kind of just, their mobility's not there, so they just stay here and that kind of stuff. And I got a good relationship with all of them. Love to make it more comfortable for them, but again, there's just no financing for that, eh? There we go. See, one of the things here in this area is a lot of the landlords are, changing something like what I have there into student housing, right? 32 here. What he does, he bought it and it's student housing. So you start thinking, okay, yeah, I could maybe carve this up into a 3-plex, right? That one Balmoral where we were in, same kind of thing. That actually has 3 kitchens, 1 on each floor. And it's like, you know what, do I need this hassle? Maybe I can convert that to a triplex and, charge whatever rent the market will dictate, right? And if there's a huge rent increase warranted because of demand, then I don't have to stick to the 1% from the RTB. So I mean, I'd be lying to you if I told you that didn't cross my mind. You know, that's one of the things. I probably would have did something like that had I not, got in touch with Spence Neighborhood, West Broadway, because they've been, they understand some of the challenges that landlords at this level of housing have. And they try and take some of the burden and that off of myself and whatnot. So that's been very helpful.
Research Alliance does work with community-based organizations on issues of poverty and what can be done to address them. And so we are working with West Broadway and Spence Neighborhood Association to look at the issue in rooming houses because it's an important type of housing. When they are well run and maintained and a sense of community develops in a rooming house where the tenant and the landlord both are exerting their rights and responsibilities, they can be good places to live. There's a housing crisis here in Canada and it's being manifested here in the inner city of Winnipeg. So we want to look at what can be done to slow the loss of rooming houses and also to support creation of new housing for the people who need it the most.
I am the project manager of the Rooming House Outreach Project, which is a 2-year pilot program based in West Broadway, all having to do with bettering rooming houses structurally and socially, because those are two really important components as we see it when thinking about improving rooming houses. It's kind of one of my more favorite places to come in the neighborhood. Always very welcoming. So today we're just getting together, working as a group to get the house as clean as we can get it. With 15 plus people living in one house, it tends to get pretty messy at times. I brought all the supplies today. People brought their own supplies from their rooms to help out, and yeah, we're just working hard for a few hours, and then we get to relax for the rest of the day in a clean house.
They fixed this place up about a year ago through Joanne in West Broadway. Had it all painted and everything patched up. Minor repairs, right? And so we try to keep this place respectable. I lived in a place that had holes in the walls and nothing got fixed. And it doesn't matter, hey, if you're living on social assistance in a rooming house, you still want to have a nice, safe place to live, right? I've lived in apartments, but in apartments, you have your own washrooms. You don't see people as much, usually, and most people are retired or students or working. But here, you gotta get along with your neighbors. You don't have a job, most of us don't have a lot of family. The people in this house are my family, right?
And the stairs.
Yeah, that needs to be cleaned.
Like right here is what this house is right now is like it's a little family. It's like a big family. Everybody knows everybody, and we all just help out each and every one of us. And Steve, he helps take care of the house and everybody's needs and stuff like that. Mostly, I don't know, I can't talk for other places, but this one, ever since he bought this place, he's made it like really good for all the people in here. We got no riffraff happening, we got no overnight guests, we got nothing. Like our house, right, is good, it's a rooming house. But you got slumlords out there that, you know, they'll let people rent for a month and get evicted in the middle of the month and whatever, right? But not around here, not in this area, you know, it's been really good for around here, like, you know. I love the trees and the squirrels. It's beautiful at this end, you know, like coming from Portage to Broadway, it's beautiful. You see these trees and you know what the whole thing is? We got a community church over there that if you're hungry, you know, you can go for a soup or a sandwich, or you can get emergency food, or you can go do laundry and stuff like that. And look at Javan's helping me out. So we basically stay in this district.
So good. Next is 478. Yes. So one of the big challenges here in the neighborhood when it comes to housing is that we don't have enough affordable housing, enough quality housing. So we're working towards that, improving that, and we work in different areas to try and address that issue. One of the ways that we as a community organization can help is to support the rooming houses, the tenants, as well as the landlords. And to do so, we need to provide some support systems around the issues that people are facing. Rooming house landlords can apply for grants on a yearly basis, and the only thing is that the grants are only available for licensed rooming houses. And we have a couple of rooming houses right across the street, and they belong to a landlord, a rooming house landlord that has been in the neighborhood for approximately 20 to 30 years, and he's been running these houses for quite a while, and the tenants are quite happy. He's accessed our CHI grants, our rental property grants, and last year they were able to put up the fence and get a couple of things done. He was really happy with the results though, because there was a number of the tenants that got involved in doing some of the landscaping at the front after the fence was done, so that was really positive.
Here in the province of Manitoba, I think the provincial government really has stepped up to the plate. They're producing 500 units of new social housing. Part of the solution, I think, is for Canadians to demand of the federal government that they get into the game. We don't have a national housing strategy in Canada. We're the only major industrialized country in the world that does not have a national housing strategy. Bringing it back to the rooming house issue, what the community is calling for is for all the levels of government to come together with the people in the community to figure out solutions to what is a pretty complicated problem, and I think that's the right strategy.
There is no one entity that is responsible for monitoring the housing stock in rooming houses, which are an important form of housing for low-income people. So they fall through the cracks. Government regulations are in silos. The community organizations in Spence and West Broadway do have a small exterior fix-up grant that they are prioritizing to rooming houses. However, it's only for the outside of rooming houses. There is no small grant available for the inside currently, and that's really where a lot of the improvements need to be made. There is a provincial grant, however, it's only accessed once a year.
We can go in here. This is the basement. There's a first bit of good news. The first step, we poured the basement for that grant program. I think it's RIP, R-H-I-P. So finally, after 2.5 years, so this is getting all new doors, all new kitchen. Well, probably not a new kitchen, but refacing the kitchen, as you can see. And thank goodness for the groups like the Spence Neighborhood, West Broadway Resource Assistance for Youth. Because if I didn't have them to kind of help me out in terms of, you know, go talk to this guy about maybe some government grants or some, you know, money for new windows and stuff like that. Not only for me where to go to maybe improve my buildings, but also the tenants, right? Because like I said, a lot of these people have addiction, mental health issues. I don't know where to turn, like where to send them or direct them. And so the tenants know that they're not alone. They could go there, they could go and talk to some of their resource workers and that. One of the things I find is a lot of the banks and all that, when you go to them for financing, you know, they have all these, you know, big gala dinners, let's help end homelessness, right? And, you know, grip and grin and pat each other on the back. But then when you go to them and say, hey, you know, I want to buy this rooming house to keep a roof over these people's heads, and they shy away from it. They take off, they head for the hills, right? So that's kind of discouraging. And I guess that's where government needs to step in.
I'm really proud of the community to know they are concerned with the rooming houses, but they're concerned of the quality of housing. It's not to throw people away or send them off to the next neighborhood because they don't want them living in the community. So I think that's a really positive first step where we're all going to somehow come up with some solutions to this.
Well, I think what the everyday person could do is educate themselves on the issue of housing and the role of rooming houses in the spectrum of housing options, and also to get involved in their community and volunteer at community organizations. This also involves talking to your elected officials and talking to them about this issue and how it's important.